Well, welcome everyone now. Hi, I'm Charlie Matthews. I am with Empowering Brands. I'm the founder and CEO of all these empowering brands that we like to talk about. Michelle Segrest is going to talk to us about content marketing, a veteran in this space. And so really excited to have her join us and continue to work with us because y'all need to get used to talking with Michelle. She's going to join me on the podcast while Bethany is out for a couple months. Well, I want to welcome you, Michelle. I am so excited to have you and navigate content that you've built to be presenting on content for one, right? It makes sense.
Yes.
But also we're going to be on this journey starting in December together on the Empowering Industry podcast. So I'm really excited to have you join me and be my co-host while Bethany is out. And they're going to know why after this presentation, why, if they don't know you, why we picked you, and you just have a wealth of knowledge. And it's always been a pleasure to work with you. Glad to have you back. So you can get started and look forward to learning from you today.
Well, first of all, I'm so excited about that. I'm thrilled to join the podcast team, even for a short period of time. And I just hope I live up to what Bethany has already started doing. And I'm thrilled. We're going to have so much fun.
You're going to compliment it. That's it. Yes.
We're going to have a great time. And I'm really looking forward to it. If you haven't subscribed to that podcast, you need to. It's good stuff. So I'm really happy to be here, and creating content is my passion. And in one form or another, I have been creating content for 30 years. And for the past 12 years, I've created content specifically for mostly for technical products, I would say, technical products and services in the industrial and municipal B2B processing industry space. So very niche-y what I do. It's extraordinarily niche-y. So I want to talk today about how content is changing the game of B2B technical product marketing. And I specifically want to talk about technical product marketing because that's my expertise, my area, specific area of expertise. But a lot of the tips that I'll give you today are relevant to any industry when you're developing content that drives brand awareness and profits, and also when you want to develop a content marketing strategy. So those are the two things I really want to dive into. So we'll go ahead and get started. First of all, I believe that every company has a story to tell. And whether it's about their products or manufacturing processes or how using their products in specific applications has solved their clients' problems, everyone loves a great story. And content marketing to me is about telling stories. In 1996, Bill Gates, the Microsoft founder, coined the phrase "content is king." And I believe that this is especially true today. All right, let's see. All right, there we go. See if I can figure out the technology here. In an ultra competitive landscape, consumers of technical products want to know more than just the specifications and capacity of the products they need for various applications. I believe that they want to know what product will solve their problem, and they will pay anything to find the answer. I believe that content marketing is the key to making this connection. The more valuable information a company can provide, the more the company will be viewed as an expert, and as we've already talked about this morning, as a thought leader. And therefore, this helps the consumer to gain the trust of it helps the marketer gain the trust of the consumer. Content marketing, in my opinion, it's selling. But it's the hardest possible soft sell that there is out there. You can strongly promote products and ideas by simply telling a story of how your product or service has solved a problem for your customers. Real world examples really have a lot of power. They have the power to add legitimacy to your message. I believe, and by the way, all these pictures you see on here are thanks to Bethany's personal branding efforts. And so everything we do here today all ties together. I really believe that. It's all overlapping. I strongly believe that the notion of of marketing to customers by interrupting them repeatedly with only advertising or other intrusive messages, it simply doesn't work anymore. And quite frankly, I believe that it is selling your brand short if this is all you do. Having an effective content marketing strategy can set you apart. And that's just a fact. So let's first start by talking about what is content marketing. How do you define it? There's lots of ways to define it. But I believe that it's just simply stated, content marketing involves the creation and sharing of valuable messages using all types of material. And this includes written articles, case studies, online blogs, videos, podcasts, webcasts, social media posts, ebooks, email. Content can come in so many different varieties. And rather than just using advertisements, I do think there's a place for traditional advertising out there, but content marketing entices the consumer by stimulating interest in a particular product or service through a cohesive and insightful message. Content marketing steers clear of heavy technical specifications most of the time, although it may demonstrate the multiple benefits and advantages of a product, and it may also describe in great detail how that product works. Content marketing delivers clear, cohesive, and concise messages to a very targeted audience. And this, to me, is the key. The same message can be delivered in a variety of ways through a variety of mediums and platforms and channels. I believe that content marketing is subtle, but it delivers a powerful punch when it's without using hard selling techniques. It's an advertisement for your products and services that does not feel like an advertisement to the consumer. And I believe this is why it's so effective. So there's a lot of definitions there to think about, but simply put, content marketing should include high quality content delivered on a consistent basis to a highly targeted and specific audience. And this is just pretty much the bottom line. Sorry, let me get organized here. Okay, so I want to give you 7 tips on how to get started with content marketing. I really believe that the hardest part of any big decision is making the decision. And once you've made the decision, then it's just all about the details. It's about getting organized and making it happen. But getting started is important. So I want to give you 7 quick, easy tips that will help you get started with your content marketing today. So these are things you can do today. So number 1 is identify and understand your audience. And this is really important. You should know who you want to reach and target your message to that specific audience. It's also really important to understand what keeps them up at night. If you can identify the pain points of the people you want to reach, of your target audience, and you can give them the answer to that problem that they're having that keeps them up at night, it's gold. It's gold. Content marketing will work for you if you can figure out that. The second tip is to understand the difference between content marketing and advertising. And I think this difference is pretty simple. We've talked about it a little bit. I've hinted on it, but it's kind of the you should tell, not sell. But in the end, when you tell without selling, you do sell. And I think the Carter and the others who are going to talk a little bit about selling later will probably agree with that. So the third tip is to develop an overall content marketing strategy. And I'm going to get into this a little bit more in just a few minutes. I really want to dive into this because it's so important. But the bottom line message is to not overwhelm yourself. You need to develop a consistent plan, and you need to have a strategy because you don't want your time and your resources and your efforts wasted. The next tip is to research your competitors. Try to figure out what is it that your competitors are doing right and what is it that your competitors are doing wrong, because you can learn from both of those things. You can steal ideas. You can maybe customize some of the things they're doing to what the message you're trying to make. But if your competitors are trying to reach the same audience that you are and they're doing something right, pay attention to that. Why not? The fifth tip to get started with content marketing is to create an editorial calendar. And I think this is important because it can keep you organized. It can keep you from being overwhelmed. It can help you space out how you deliver and bring your content to market. And it will keep you consistent as well. You won't be unbalanced. It'll give you balance, and it'll also kind of give you peace of mind knowing what you've got out there to work with and when you want to distribute it. The sixth easy tip is to set easy goals that can provide early success. And I think this is really important because if you can find early wins, not only is this great for you and your morale of your team, but it's also great for management because I actually have a book about content marketing. I'll talk to you about it in a little bit, but I have a whole chapter on how to sell content marketing to management. This is not always an easy thing to do because it's hard to measure. But if you can find easy goals and early success, then you can usually then create some more lofty goals and set your goals higher. And then the last tip I have for you today on how to get started is to experiment with different kinds of content and social media posts. And you should try product specific posts as well as problem solving posts, and try to get a mix of that, try to get a balance of that. And then also try to mix up things like video, slideshows, case studies, technical articles, social media posts. Try to really experiment, and then try to establish what the behaviors of your audience are. You will see pretty quickly what's working and what's not. I mean, there are certain avenues that I don't even use anymore because I can't get I don't see the ROI as much as I do on other platforms. But the more that you experiment and try new things, if it doesn't work, it's okay. Just don't do that anymore. That's kind of my tip for you. But don't be afraid to try and experiment. And so, as we've already said, hang on, let me see if I can get this. Yeah, here we go. There's just a tons of different types of content. So I'm going to go through this super quickly. Content comes in all shapes and sizes. There's so many, and I know I messed up this thing. The 7 came in later, but that's okay. The type of content you create can be as simple as a 280 character tweet, and it can be as complex as a heavy, in-depth technical white paper or a case study. And it can also be as creative as a how-to video or a beautiful slideshow with stunning images. So there's all kinds of content but all of this is content. Everything, anytime you communicate your message, that's content. But it is important to know that the greatest content in the whole wide world is absolutely worthless if no one sees it. Great content is the first step, but an effective content marketing strategy is the game changer. And I just can't express this enough. Your website combined with your social media channels are critical to pushing out the content to your target audience and potential customers. But there are also other creative ways to reach your audience. It's not enough to just have great content. I just can't stress that enough. You need a strategic plan in place. And that plan should be documented so that there's accountability, and it should be designed around key performance indicators that will help you track and measure the results. So, what is a content marketing strategy? A content marketing strategy is a map or a blueprint that clearly identifies the type of content you want to create and the strategic way you will deliver it to your audience through a variety of mediums and channels and resources. It should include clear KPIs and a tracking method to measure the results, because how else are you going to know if you're successful or if you got there? Your content marketing strategy should include the types of content you'll create, and that will be the most effective for marketing your technical product. And again, I'm talking specifically about technical products. So I want to share with you 14 questions that you can ask when developing a content marketing strategy. So if you can answer these questions, you have your general content strategy in place. So the first one is ask, what type of product are you marketing? And this seems simple enough. But the type of product you build your strategy around can help you to determine key details about the strategy. You should be sure your content creators know the product inside and out. They should know exactly how it works. Should have a full understanding of this. They should have a full understanding of how it's used and for what industries it's designed specifically to be used in. They should know what the key features of the product are and what the advantages are over the competitors. And they should also really have a great understanding of the key success stories that are out there that demonstrate how the product solved a problem. And also they should know, is this a technical piece of equipment or is it an accessory? I mean, all these things should be there should be a huge understanding of this for your content creator. So the second question to ask is, what is your mission and what are your goals when you're developing your strategy? So having a clear objective, of course, is crucial. Creating a mission statement is a great place to start so that your marketing team is aligned with what you hope to accomplish. But management will also appreciate a mission statement that clearly defines the goals of the marketing effort. Some typical goals to think about are that could be improving revenue, gaining traffic, building brand awareness, upping social media engagement. There's all kinds of little goals you can sprinkle in there, and some will be easy to achieve and some might be more difficult. And that takes you to the third question you should ask. How are you going to track and measure those results? And so you must develop clear, measurable, and attainable key performance indicators. You should include milestones that allow you to celebrate success along the way. And you should have revenue targets, and those could be anything from attaining more email addresses to increasing site traffic to improving search rankings, tracking the number of published articles you have out there. All these are measurable goals that you can set. But be sure to attach specific numbers and timelines to the results so you know when you get there. The fourth question you can ask is, who is your target audience? And we went through this before, but it's important to emphasize. You should know everything from the job titles of your target audience to their pain points. And remember, what keeps them up at night? What is their underlying problem that they need to solve? But you should also know the geography of your audience. And this is important. I think the social media experts will probably talk about this later and agree with me that you don't want to push out great content when your audience is asleep. It's so easy for that content to get buried under a sea of other feeds. You want to know when your audience is awake. If you have customers in the Middle East, you don't want to send out a critical piece of content on social media at 8 o'clock in the morning Central Standard Time in the US. They won't see it. It's also important to understand the education level of your audience. So you can determine whether, if these people really have a great understanding of the technical aspects of these products, you don't want to insult their intelligence by telling them too much about how it works. If they already know this, you want to focus on features and things like that. But if your audience is less educated on the technical aspects, then you can focus your content on things like success stories and how it's actually used in a specific application. So all these are important. You need to actually create a customer avatar. And we talk a lot about this in our book about defining that buyer persona. What does your customer look like? And then you want to talk directly to that customer with your content and with your message. Another important question to ask is, who are your competitors? This is important to know. It should go without saying, but you'd be surprised how many clients I work with who don't know who their competitors are. But it's important to know. You can study what they're promoting and how they bring their message to market, and you can see what's resonating with your shared audience. This will really help you to understand the buying patterns, the decision-making patterns of your target audience. So see what your customers who are doing it right are doing and do that. Number 6, what are your primary keywords to target for SEO? In the last couple of years, I've really learned a lot about search engine optimization and how important primary keywords are. If you're talking about submersible pumps and submersible pumps is not in the headline, you are missing an opportunity. Google will never find you. Really do some heavy research into the target keywords that you want to rank on Google. And this will open up a whole new world of audience for you, people out there, consumers out there that you never even knew existed. The seventh question you should ask when you're developing your content marketing strategy is, what is the timeline for your campaign? So every campaign should have a beginning and a middle and an end. And even if it's an ongoing campaign, you should still measure results weekly or monthly or quarterly or annually. You should have a timeline where you say, okay, at the end of this quarter, we're going to see how we're doing. Don't let it go on too long, even if it's ongoing. And all of your KPIs should include timelines. So the eighth one, we're getting to the end of these. I know it's taking long, but I think it's important information to share. So you should know, what is the purpose of your content? So are you hoping to educate your audience? Do you just want to build brand awareness? Do you want to sell products, just flat out sell products? Knowing the purpose of your content helps you streamline your marketing efforts so that no time or resources are wasted on content that does not fit your overall strategy. So the ninth, what content do you already have? You should make a list when you're developing your content marketing strategy of every single piece of content that you currently have, and then develop a strategy around repurposing that content in a variety of ways. So, for example, you can take a simple 5-minute video and turn it into a 1,500-word article or blog post. It could also, that same piece of content could also be presented as a slideshow of images. It could be made into a podcast. It could be made into a webcast. A product brochure can be broken down into dozens of social media posts by highlighting each feature of the benefits of that product. By having a list of your current content, you'll be able to paint a good picture of what you can leverage, and also you can determine what you still need to create to reach those content marketing strategy goals. So number 10, what content do you need to create? So that goes without saying. Once you've made a list of the content you already have, then you need to make a list of the content you need to create, and this list needs to be prioritized. And what I mean by that is, sometimes you have to start from scratch. Some people just don't have any content, but some people have content they didn't realize was content, and you can take that content and do other things with it. But sometimes you just need to fill in some gaps, and other people have to start from scratch. So think about success stories you have in the field. Remember to focus on how your problem is solving, how your product is solving problems for your customers. Always keep that in mind. But when you're prioritizing, maybe you have some easy wins, content that can be created quickly, like social media posts, for example, can be utilized, while other more complicated content like case studies and videos are being created. So number 11, this is several questions, but they all kind of go together, and it's really important to know this. Who is in charge of your content? What is the budget? And who is responsible for the results? So someone should own your content marketing strategy. Someone should be in charge of managing, maintaining, and implementing this strategy. It's so important to have someone in charge of identifying and allocating resources. And identify, is this the same person who's responsible for the results? Does this person have the authority to authorize expenses that need to be made to create and distribute the content? Know your budget so you can make wise content decisions. The answers to all these questions should be a part of the overall strategy completely. Number 12, who will create the content? So ask yourself, do you have the resources in-house to create this content? Or do you hire someone out there like me, a content creator who either full-time or part-time can create content for you? Or maybe you need a whole content creation firm. The ideal situation is that you can do it in-house, because that's the most efficient way to do it. But some people just don't have that resources. Some companies don't. And so just know that there are content creators out there that can help you. Number 13, how you distribute the content and how often. So this goes back to the editorial calendar that we talked about earlier and how important that is. So creating this editorial content calendar, it should be a core piece of your content marketing strategy. Start by populating it with product release dates. Start there. Okay. And then add key trade shows and events to make sure you take advantage of those opportunities when you're pushing your content out. Then add heavy content like case study articles, videos, other content that may require time to create. And after that, populate your content with specific social media posts that can be delivered frequently and consistently across all the social channels. So number 14, and the last tip I have for developing the content marketing strategy is to ask the question, what are the best content channels for this product? So as you work through your strategy, you're going to begin to get a clear picture of where your audience is hanging out and where you already have an established presence. So for example, I have great luck promoting content on LinkedIn and in specific groups on Facebook, but I personally don't have as much luck pushing out content on Instagram, for example. I don't get the bang for my buck there. That's just me. That's what I have identified with most of my consumers that I reach out to for marketing technical products. But that doesn't mean I don't use Instagram. It just means I put more of my effort somewhere else because I see those results more quickly and see that they make a bigger impact. But this also might change over time. You might see, I know that things like TikTok, I know Charlie and Bethany were talking about this on a recent podcast. Maybe we have to start exploring that. I'll never forget. Oh, and Twitter, by the way, is also a good place for me. I'll never forget Charlie, when we worked together at a pump industry magazine years ago. She forced me to get on Twitter and I thought she was crazy, but now I see that that's an effective way to do it. So sometimes you have to, as we said before, some of the other ladies said, you step out of your comfort zone and try something new because that's important.
Michelle, I do have a question for you.
Okay.
Is this a good time?
Sure.
Okay. So the question is, what is the best way to reach those potential customers who don't exist on social media? I thought that was a very timely question.
It's an awesome question, and I have a great answer. The answer is go back to the point about knowing the keywords and focusing on search engine optimization, because start with your website. If you can get people to your website to see the message by using strategic SEO keywords. And there's great resources out there. I use KeySearch. It's called keysearch.com. There's a small fee to use this, but you can research a keyword and find out how difficult it is to rank on that specific keyword. But if you don't have social media as a place to put your message out, you need a website and you need to be using SEO. So that helps you reach an audience that you didn't even know was out there. I mean, of course, obviously, if you don't have social media, you should be going to trade shows or even virtual trade shows. I mean, those are the places we meet the most people, right, Charlie? I mean, that's, right now we're not having in-person trade shows, but that's a great place to get your message out. If you don't have that, focus on SEO. There's a lot of great resources out there too. Maybe I can include some that can help you.
Yeah, and Brian, who's coming up right after you, he will be talking about websites as well.
Okay, great. I mean, I'm sure he'll talk about this because that's a great place to get your message out to customers you didn't even know existed. I mean, these people are coming, you would have never reached them otherwise because you're not connected with them on the social media. So focus on SEO. I'm almost finished. So let me just keep going.
Yes.
These are the 14 questions you should ask. I mean, I'm sure there's many others. Once you have the answers to these questions, you will have your primary strategy map. And I just want to reiterate that having an effective content marketing strategy can set you apart. It can turn browsers into buyers. It can convert customers into fans and advocates. So the next step would be implementing that plan, which should also include ideas for organizing, repurposing, and leveraging the content. So there's so much more I could talk about. And along with a great longtime business colleague and friend and partner, Rick Lowe, we actually wrote the book on how to creatively market a technical product. And the forward was written by Charlie K. Matthews. And we're really proud of this book. It goes into detail about all this stuff I talked about today, but much, much deeper. And it also discusses how it provides basic insights on just how to develop your creative approach to technical marketing. We demonstrate how to embrace new media, how to find the right balance with an omni-channel approach, all kinds of stuff. And anybody who's attending this summit can get 30% off. The book only costs $9.99, so it's not a huge investment. But if you want the interactive PDF, you can get it from my website, as you can see on the screen. Just use the code EMPOWER30. But if you'd like the ebook or the printed version, you can get that on Amazon or iTunes, Apple Bookstore, or Kobo, or Google Play, or Barnes and Noble. So it's everywhere. So I appreciate that support.
And Michelle, if you'll put that in the chat too when you.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I would be happy to. I can include that. And just in conclusion, I just want to say that any marketing activity should be based on a sound and well thought through strategy and action plan. This is so important. I can't stress that enough. In marketing, there are no holy grails. There are no quick fixes, because products, markets, channels, and audiences all differ. What might work for one particular product or company may not work for others. And this is one of the other key reasons you should build a plan. So having said that, I'd be happy to take some questions if anyone has any.
I think
should I unshare my screen?
Yes, you can stop sharing the screen now.
Okay.
And yeah, thank you so much, Michelle. I can't stress enough for y'all to go and check out her book. Thank you for letting me write that. That was such an honor.
You were the only, I mean, it had to be you.
Well, I also think